that I was a woman and the reaction was bad, I'll never forget it. She told me that, women are fundamentally different than men, biologically more empathetic, more motherly. Also having a period is very, very important to being a woman because if you don't have a period and, if you're disconnected from that, pregnancy cycle, then, you're missing something fundamental about being a woman. I didn't get more misogynistic in that moment because I realized that it was bullshit, and thinking that a period is what really defines a woman is inherently misogynistic. I felt myself become very small because to just have my identity just be cast aside as if it was just something silly made me feel so insignificant. Like I was just a thing that was confused. And what made it even worse is that her sister, who I was actually very close with, stopped talking to me because of it. She came over to my dorm and she was very solemn. And I was like, "What's up?" And then she was like, "I can't be friends with you anymore because of your identity." It just taught me that expressing my transness, the fact that I am a woman, expressing that is actually not even that beneficial. I don't gain shit from doing it. And I still was very uncomfortable with it too. I knew that it was true, and I knew that within myself, within my own bubble, and within my bubble of queer people and trans people, I was very comfortable to say that I am a woman. But whenever I do say it, my energy kind of lowers a little bit. It's like, yeah, I am a woman. It's something that I feel like I am admitting instead of something that I'm proclaiming with pride. Like I could say I'm non-binary and I could be cool with it and chill. But when I say I'm a woman, my whole body tenses up because I'm preparing to get punched emotionally, physically, you name it. Wow, this was 3 years ago. Actually, I was insecure about my transness and me being a woman. Me wearing eyeliner was as far as I would take it because I just didn't. I wasn't. This was 3 years ago, actually. Like I could say I'm non-binary and I could be people that accept accepted me for me to feel like I would be safe if I were to express that part of myself. Now, 3 years later, I can say on a YouTube video that I am a woman and I'm not as scared. I'm not as apprehensive because I realize that it doesn't really matter how other people will take it because the people that care are the ones who matter. And I just started caring more about myself as well, and my past, and my history, and the fact that I'm a lesbian. I have never mentioned that in a video before, but I am. It's not even something that I really question. It's not something that I've been like, I've been back and forth about this. I'm not really sure about it. I'm actually lying, but not in the way you may think. There's a very apparent portion of people that label themselves as lesbians that are very defensive over the term. I'm gonna tell a story of my interaction with one shortly, but the hostility has always been a major factor in my ability to embrace who I actually am. This extends to my identity as a woman as well. People, and I say people to be non-specific in general, are very uncomfortable when women, femmes, lesbians, and everything under that, I don't know, vague umbrella of womanhood, I guess, is breached. People complain about trans women in women's sports, trans women in women's bathroom, trans women in women's spaces. You get the gist. They say that men are taking their safe spaces away from them, but I hear the voice of men in their words. When they attach their value to maternal instincts, when their spirituality revolves around the divine femininity that can be found in their kitty cat, and even when their identity is fueled by misandry, that has never appealed to me. If that's the kind of woman y'all wanna be, by all means, go crazy. I'ma do my own thing. not really sure about it. I'm absolutely sure. 125% sure that I am a lesbian. I have been a lesbian my whole life, respectfully. Crazy because I also lost friends because of that too. What the fuck? I had this friend who used to be non binary, but detransitioned. I would tell her that I was a lesbian, and her reaction would be like, didn't really get it. And she was also a lesbian too. And one day, she started asking me questions about it. But the way she was asking the questions, it was like she would ask it and then kind of pull back a little bit, and she would ask it and then pull back a little bit. And I was getting frustrated because I already knew what was going to happen. And eventually, she just say like, "How can you be a lesbian if you're a male?" And I had to explain that, I am transgender, something that you should be familiar with, given that you were non-binary. Some people think that being non-binary means that you're not trans. I suppose this is debatable, but I feel like to say you're non-binary is to transition away from your cisgender that you were assigned with. So I don't think it's crazy to say that being non-binary is to be trans. But some people don't realize the extent of transness within their identities when they say that they are non-binary. When they, even people that say that they don't really care about labels, that's also transgender ideology. It is. This shit goes deep, but people don't want to claim the label for whatever reason. And I feel like if you are trans, you watching this, you would understand why some people are hesitant to say that they are trans. They just say, you know what, I don't care, whatever, whatever. We had that conversation, and I was already pissed off. But I decided to just, you know what, I'll answer to the best of my capability. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Hey, Richard, you've been mute this entire time. I want you to know that. No, you have been the entire. We're all screaming. Please, for the love of God, turn your mic on. You've been mute the entire time for the last 20 minutes. We've been screaming in the chat, Richard. You have to look at your chat.
Nobody told me.
We all
chat
tried.
isn't showing up. Chat isn't showing up in my OBS.
I literally messaged your partner because we're all suffering here.
My partner's asleep. Has been asleep for many hours. Ambrose also DM'd me.
Oh my God.
Okay, and Imran is fake. He said, looks like Sunday is against IP categorically. Is that true?
I'm against IP?
Categorically?
No, I like every Ip Man up until 3. Although 3 is kind of on thin ice. 4 was garbage.
Fair enough, fair enough. We watched a video together sort of recently about Sure Shot recommended it. It was about like the case against intellectual property. And basically the idea was that if you're a very specific type of artist, then you can survive on donations completely. And also copying people's work is not stealing it. So like fan fiction should be allowed and stuff, and you should be allowed to make art of other people's characters.
Well, think about it. If that wasn't the case, then Dante would be out of a job, right?
He's dead.
Yeah, but he wasn't at one point, right?
Yeah.
Because he wrote all those books pining for
the fan fiction,
that underage girl.
What?
Yeah, I think Beatrice was like, how old is Beatrice? How old was, maybe I'm misremembering. How old is Beatrice and Dante? I think she was like crazy young. Holy shit.
Oh,
Beatrice
she's
was 9
like
years old when Dante met her, 18
the
years old when they
guide,
spoke
right?
again, and 24 when she died. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
he met
okay.
her at 18. That's not so bad.
No, we
Wait,
met her
how
at
old was
9.
she? Oh, 9!
Met her at 9.
No! No. What year
But
was
doesn't
Dante?
mean it was in a bad way.
In a bad way. Like, I don't know if there is a good way.
What to me? Well, presumably, if you go to a birthday party and you meet someone while you're 9, and then later as adults you go out, that's fine.
I mean, if you meet once, but didn't they like know each other the whole time?
Well, I think she was. I think they were the same age.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't meet a 9-year-old as someone in his 20s. He met a 9-year-old that's a 9-year-old. So that's different.
Got it.
When I was 9 years old, I met people who were 9 years old all the time.
I haven't met a 9-year-old in so long, but I met like 20 of them at once when I was a TA at Russian school. That was funny. I just had to like walk around and be like, "Do your work, child," and then I would have to take them to the bathroom one by one, because once one of them is
That's
like, "I have to go to the bathroom," then the entire class is like, "I have to go to the bathroom."
that's funny.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for telling me.
You're welcome. By the way, your mic's a little quiet.
Yeah. I can bring it closer. I have it set a little bit low on OBS because Brooks and I determined that that was the best like sound quality.
Imran's telling me to screw off, even though I saved your stream. So noted. Have a good night. Bye bye.
Okay, goodbye. Okay. Let me figure out what the heck is wrong with my chat. Okay. Chuck says, "Richard, your audio for the stream isn't working. I can hear your voice." So, you mean to say that you don't want to hear me? Okay. Live streaming. Ah, there's so many comments! And I haven't heard any of them. Because they... Oh, yeah. Pop out chat. Copy the link. Go to OBS. Click docs. Custom browser docs. Switch the URL. Apply. Close. There we go. Also I have to fix this. There we go. Okay. Alright. We still can't hear you. I've literally been shouting about that, Richard. It's our fault. Fanfiction is transformed to Sunday. End call. Richard has to stream and you're yapping at this point. Isn't the whole Dante Beatrice the one-sided thing? Use Sunday. Dante had a crazy case of limerence. Man behavior, etc., etc. Yeah. Okay. Back to the video. I apologize, guys. I have no idea how long stuff has been going on, but basically, he had a friend that would like keep asking him. She's a detransitioner, was non-binary, then detransitioned to being a woman again, and she was like, "But how can you be a lesbian if you're male?" And he was like, "Because I'm trans femme." Explosion. That's basically where we are.
Even though I really feel like this about to end badly. And it did end badly. Because after I answered, I didn't hear anything back for like a week. And then I came back and I was just like, bro, your questions were extremely disrespectful. And they made me feel horrible about myself. And I tried to answer you and you just didn't respond. And what I got back was just, your identity doesn't make sense to me. You can't be a lesbian because you don't know what it's like to be harassed by men. You don't know this, you don't know that. You're not a part of this.
This reminds me of the time that I was in upstate New York with a friend who was my boyfriend for maybe like 3 weeks over winter break, and then I had a bit of a like psychotic episode because I was like, I hate him, but but I can't hate him because I'm in a relationship with him, and it made me go crazy. Um, so that happened, and then I broke up with him, and then we went out to walk in the city, and then a guy started like yelling at us, and it turned out that he was catcalling my ex-boyfriend and not me, even though I was like dressed cute at the time. My ex-boyfriend, by the way, looks like this. Roughly.
You don't have this, you don't have that. So because you don't have this and that, you can't be a lesbian like that. See what they saying? She wasn't rapping though. And the thing that stuck with me with that conversation is that she hinged being a lesbian upon how much harassment you receive from men.
Looks like Sunday. That's diabolical, Imran. Let me think. No, not really. Um, yeah, I actually don't remember his face too well. Let me see if I can. It's okay if I show a picture because the quality is going to be extremely low. Oh wait, no. I found the pictures of Harry and I in our group Halloween costume. We were like doing angel, demon, and priest. I was the priest. And all of us were like slutted out. That was a good time. That was the last time I did Halloween, I think. Oh no. The following year I dressed up as Slender Man. Did I remove all my photos of him? That would be so valid of me. You've never been to a Halloween party? I have only been to one, and it was like okay. It was completely. It was like everybody there was gay and stuff, and none of us knew each other. But we were like, "Yes, your costume is so slay." And then Harry came in, and he's a cis heterosexual. So everybody would be like, "What are your pronouns?" to him, and he would be like, "He, him," and they're like, "And you're gay?" And he's like, "No." And they're like, "Then what are you doing here?" It was somebody actually said, "What are you doing here?" Uh yeah, that's why I prefer mixed company. I surely have an image. Oh no, I found something much better. Look at my parents. Look how cute they are. We're at the ice rink in downtown DC. with the like sculpture gallery. It was really nice. I fell down a bunch of times. Bro is ontologically invalid. Yeah, basically. Yeah, he did just take it. I mean, what are you supposed to reply to that? Like, straight pride! You look like a joke. How do you... nobody trains you for this. Like, if you're gay, you like anticipate this. That like straight people are gonna be like, ew, you're gay? So you play out these scenarios where people will harass you in your head in the shower. You're like, I'm gonna meet this new person that could be homophobic, so I'm going to imagine them attacking me. And then when you actually get to the situation, like, usually it's fine, but in case it's not, you're prepared. Okay, let's get on with this video.
Which is another level of like, I don't even know, it's just fucked up to say that. Honestly, it's just fucked up to say that, because does that then mean that lesbians that are conventionally unattractive, that don't get really harassed by men, does that mean that do they not really count as being lesbians? Why is
Yeah, that's a good point. Similar to what I was saying. Like, even if you're not conventionally attractive, you're still gonna get harassed. Even if you're a man, you're gonna get harassed. The male gender is just insatiable. I joke.
there a space for men in the lesbian equation? Isn't lesbian literally supposed to be like, what the fuck? Like, why is that even a part of the conversation? When I realized that I was a woman, I was like, okay, well, I'm probably gonna need breasts now. And I actually, using my Megamind brain, I constructed a device that would simulate me having huge titties. And they would literally jiggle when I would walk. Like, I took a video and I was just shaking them in the mirror, and I sent them to my friends, and they were like, how the fuck did you make that shit? Honestly, I felt very proud of it. And no, I'm not gonna share the video. What the fuck? Don't even think that. Like, you're gonna have to just use your imagination. But after I made that video, I realized that I actually didn't even need it. I didn't even want it, actually. I just assumed that that was the next step, because that's what often is depicted in, transition stories. Like, someone realizes, oh, I'm a woman, and that's like, okay, well, gotta get the titties. But why though?
Time to get bottom surgery.
Why? Do all women have titties? Big titties at that? No. I know a lot of women that have like very flat chests. I know someone that have big titties. I know someone that have basically none at all.
Kidology's last video was about this like body positivity influencer who's really thin, and she has a flat chest, and she's like, all of her content is about having a flat chest. And then after a couple of years, she gets bored of making the flat chested content, so she gets a boob job. And then she like comes on with her tickled bitties, and she's like, yes, now I'm perfect. What was I say that for? Oh, I said that to say that if you don't have big boobs as like a developing or like a young woman, oftentimes that changes after childbirth. But if it doesn't, or like if you haven't done that yet, or if you're never gonna do that, then it's like you feel like sort of a man for not having that one attractive feature. Oh, that's funny, August. I never hear of any of the people that Kidology talks about. Oh, I think it's because she's on Instagram. That's why.
I know some women that have deep voices, but then a lot of trans women get,
And they're very
kind of pushed to like, vocal training. Your voice has to be a certain, pitch. But it's also a matter of passing as
Yes,
well, and a
clear it
matter
out.
of safety, because if you are a trans woman, you have to go all the way so that you can pass, because if you don't pass, that literally the transitionary period between you being what you were before and you being a woman is deadly as fuck if you can't get caught out in that transitionary period. But for me, I realized that I actually was okay with just being how I always looked. Mostly, at least. I mean, me having blonde hair like right now, that's a little gay, honestly. Like this is a little gay. But I'm cool with that. Like I don't feel like I need to look a certain way to be a woman, or even to really be anything. Like I dress how I want to dress, not because I'm trying to really give a certain gender or whatever. Because I don't mind.
And I mean, they use any pronouns. So it's like, it's not like um she's gonna be like, oh, you didn't she her me, even though I don't look like a stereotypical woman. It's not that type of situation. It's like internally, like spiritually, this is what I feel. Uh this is what feels right to me, and I don't think I need to change.
Me saying that I'm a woman, that's not something that I'm necessarily striving to be. You know,
I mean, that explains a lot of the like being both non-binary and a woman thing, because I don't know, because specifically identifying with woman rather than with femininity or trans femininity, I feel like is something particular. Uh like personally, I'm in sort of a similar situation. Like I don't feel any need to get surgery. The only thing I would change about my body is having a deeper voice, which is something I can't achieve through vocal training, um, unfortunately. But what was I gonna say? I'm just gonna play the video.
I'm not striving to fill a role or fill a label. It's just a part of my identity, a part of what makes me who I am. It's not all.
Oh, I was gonna say, I saw this like people using the label transsexual unironically on Twitter, and I didn't really like it. But these are people that will that center their transition around the medical process, or like the process of changing their sex rather than changing their gender. Um, in the sense of like, I don't know, like if you are transgender like this, it feels like you have to unlearn certain like maladaptive patriarchal beliefs, like the fact that to be a woman you have to look a certain way, like you have to have a high-pitched voice and have tickle bitties, um, which is what this individual unlearned. That could be a process of like changing gender rather than changing sex. Though it's more of like you're changing the ontology of gender for yourself.
Encompassing.
But what I was gonna say about the transsexual people is that it always feels like they're diminishing people aren't um, that aren't willing to go to the same lengths or don't have the same resources that they do. Um, like for some people, it's not a matter of choice whether to get all these required surgeries, or it's not like it's just not something that they're interested in for reasons other than like gender affirmation. Because, getting surgery affects more than just your self perception. And I don't like that about people using transsexual unironically.
Because I still don't choose to sit inside of a box. It's just like I'm an open field, and I have some spots of me that I choose to label, but I'm open, bro. I can go in whatever direction I want to go into.
Okay. I think we might be done with this video. I have like 6 more. So we're gonna go kind of fast. The next video is I'm learning to draw an SFW and why you should too.
Hello everyone, Raro here. I'm currently learning to draw No Safe for Work.
I'm going to see if I agree with this video. Because I feel like the reason that you want to learn to draw porn, basically, is because you draw like the entire body. It's the same reason as you want to use the same reason that you want to do like nude life drawings. It's because you're getting the entire body and you're learning how to draw the entire body. You're learning not only like the different body parts. It's not like you're learning how to draw like butts and genitals. It's more like you have a continuity from the head to the toes, like completely continuous. What is Extermination Reborn? Let me Google this. What is this? This is something from Roblox. Okay, no, it's not. Is this a song? Is this a Roblox song? Oh yes, it is. Okay, I hope none of you guys have. The song's alright so far. I don't mind it. Wait, isn't this copyright be struck potentially? Okay. I had to check my notifications because I got 2 hate comments within like a couple of minutes of each other, and I was suspecting that somebody made a video about me and they're like being sent to my channel. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna put on my horns. Yes, we're getting horny for the NSFW drawing video. Sorry, I have to tighten them. I put them on too loosely. One second. Okay. Yeah, I'm curious. Usually artists aren't very intelligent, so my hopes aren't high. But hopefully I can add something interesting from experience. I don't know. I was never like a seriously trained artist. So we'll see. Okay. There we go. We are now Richard the Goat IRL in 4K.
You already knew that. It's in the title. But the reasoning why I decided to start with Not Safe for Work altogether might surprise you.
This person's way of drawing is kind of bricked, TBH. Like, normally you're gonna draw the full head before you draw the face. Also, constructing only the head, then to freehand the shoulders is interesting.
A great while back, I was searching for some art of an anime character I really liked. I was obsessed with this character and the way she was portrayed. The thing is, when it came to art or really anything else, there was nothing of her. Maybe just some fan art here and there, but it was strangely a lot
porn?
less than what I was expecting.
You were expecting lots of porn of this
Then
anime
it came
girl?
to me. If the internet is not going to provide, then I will. And that was the main reason I started in digital art. But wait. Then why did you start learning to draw Not Safe for Work? And to that I say, I sucked. I tried for some time to practice, but I failed to draw her. And by failed, I mean I could not create a piece that could reflect the image my mind was creating of that character. Then I noticed that the thing that seemed...
I hate artists without aphantasia. They can just picture things in their heads and then transfer it onto the canvas. They have it so easy. I have to imagine something. I can't see it. And then transfer it onto the paper and like see it as I'm drawing it. It's difficult. It's really difficult.
Like it was the most important at that time was the figure. I thought, if I can draw the figure better, then nothing else will matter, right? Silly me. I started my journey searching for the best places to study the human figure, and someone in Reddit said, "Why don't you look for not safe for work content?" And that I did.
Someone on Reddit said, "Go look at porn," which, if it's a drawing, it's usually going to be very anatomically incorrect. Like, I can't show you guys anything on stream, but I'll be scrolling through HoYoLab, which is like the website for all of the HoYoverse games, the app for all of the HoYoverse games. I'm not allowed to use any social media, so this is all I have. Let me have it. Leave me alone. And yeah, George, that's a good question. How old is this character? You never know. Yeah, I play Zelda Zone Zero. I used to play Genshin Impact, but I hate Genshin Impact, so I stopped playing it. Do I spend money on the games? No.
We all know that the only thing the internet isn't short of is not safe for work content. As I browsed, I started to notice how different artists in this genre and the fan bases around it got along. It seemed so wholesome to me. I wanted to be a part of that. Create pieces that could be instantly compelling to my audience. Other reasons why I started to draw not safe for work is that it usually gets more attention than safe for work content. Obviously, depending on the fan base.
I don't know if this is true because it is restricted. I mean, I've never tried posting not safe for work. It's something I have to try though, because all of my all of my art accounts have been extremely unsuccessful in the past. So I don't know. Maybe I just have to like draw a boatload of porn, which I can't do because it's really difficult actually to come up with compositions consistently. Like, I'm not just gonna draw the same 5 poses, but there are only 5 poses. So what am I supposed to do? I draw the same 5 poses from... There are only a couple of angles also where it looks appealing. The character is apparently 16. How did you find that out, Suke Bunsasha? Do you recognize this character? Dropped one single video and disappeared. The name underneath the drawing. Oh, Hanazaku Hakari. Isn't Kanojo girl in Japanese? Like, not woman. Woman would be onna. Kanojo is girl. Anyway.
Bases and stuff like that.
In summary, the Lolicon decided that he will engage in he will draw NSFW for attention and to Goon, to the character that nobody else is drawing porn of because she's underage, probably. Let's move on. Okay, if you're going to do that, I think it would be a good idea to practice anatomy more first. Also, do you want to recommend an NSFW artist I think has a good art style? Also, goddammit, of course they would. Oh, do you want to recommend... What be up? Okay. Yeah, you can recommend. I will probably check them out after stream rather than before. Yeah, moving on. Next video is by Lavender
Hey everybody, it's
Town, who, if you guys engage with art on YouTube at all, this is probably like one of the most popular art YouTubers. I used to watch her maybe when I was like 14, a while ago. She does a lot of like little challenges and educational videos. Generally like a cool person. I mean, she's been around for this long without raping anybody, so she has to be decent.
Lavender Town. And there was a point where I really started to lose personality in my art style. It didn't feel like it really belonged
Yeah, you can DM me.
to me, and I really wanted to make it feel like mine again. If you're in the same boat, here's the tips that helped me fill my art with uniqueness and whimsy again, and not only does it look better, but I find it's also more fun. And to be clear, this should work no matter what kind of art style you're going for. The idea is that you want to personalize it more and focus it more internally on the things that genuinely inspire you and the things that you really like, as well as making a plan for how to keep improving your skills without losing your art style, which is a weirdly difficult thing to do at a lot of points.
My questions here are gonna be, how do you determine what style is yours? Like, how do you figure out what your personality is in terms of art? I guess you can just like combine all the media you like, but sometimes it just doesn't blend well, or maybe you draw but you aren't into super stylized art. Yeah, I don't know, but I was curious in this video because I have kind of I don't know, I feel like I have kind of the more of the art style on the left because my art style, especially lately, leans more semi-realism. I will show you guys later what I'm working on, and I'm literally referencing a photo for that one. So both me and somebody else whose style leans semi-realism-y is gonna look similar there. But I think that people who do semi-realism can also stylize their work in really cool ways depending on how they render stuff. But rendering is so like, it's like technical, and instead of these features that you see in Lavender Town's art, like this eyeball over here, this is an easy to copy decision. Like, I don't know. We'll see what she says.
And that is why I started to lose my art style, was my difficulties in learning figure drawing and going to art school. It felt like I had to lose the uniqueness or the whimsy and the playfulness in my art style to keep improving my skills, but that is absolutely...
Also, this use of the word whimsy, it's very personal, right? Whimsy literally means with doing stuff like on a whim. But whims by definition like cannot be triggered. They can't be created by external forces. It's just something that comes from nowhere. So how do you trigger whimsy? You can't.
Absolutely not the case. And then lastly, if you feel like your art style isn't unique or isn't yours because you feel like it's too similar to one thing or another, one particular anime style, usually that means you just have to broaden your points of inspiration, which we will talk about at the end. So for a first...
I've never had that problem. uh, I've only seen people's art styles look too similar to the media that they like in cases like Homestuck, Danganronpa, like it's pretty rare that people's art style looks like their favorite anime.
First little exercise that should help you get the uniqueness back in your art. I want us to go back in time, and I want you to remember what originally made you want to draw. I'm talking like as early as you can remember. When I was little, I loved combining animals to try to make new ones, designing elaborate
When I was little, I was like, oh my god, Japanese cute eyes. I have to draw Japanese cute eyes. And nowadays I draw eyes like not with a lot of detail. Let me grab my painting. Where is it? There it is. Nowadays I draw eyes like this. Not very Japanese or cute.
cakes with lots of fillings and decorations and little twisty patterns, and of course dragons and snakes. These were the things that excited me. It didn't matter that they didn't go together. It didn't matter that there didn't seem to be a real market for drawings of cakes that have a million different fillings. That was just what I loved to draw, and that's all that mattered. So in order to get back in that mindset of just pure inspiration and pure fun for whatever you find interesting, try and basically make a commission for your childhood self. The only person who has to
make you hate the CalArts style. You hate the silhouette only hair? Let me look at the... What the fuck is this? Yeah. Well, Steven Universe has the CalArts art style. Where can I see a big image? There we go. Yeah, the hair has no dimension. Except Amethyst's a little bit, I guess you can see. I think, yeah, the show tends to be flat. This is a poster for the show. But I did see like a little bit of flat shading on screenshots from the show, but still that's not depth really. It's just like, oh yeah, there's no shading here. No shading here. Where are screenshots from the show? Is this a screenshot from the show? Ugh. How did they make their outfits look even more like pride colored and gay? Not that I hate this. It's this AI. I love AI art so much. Yeah, anyway, this is funny. Let's see.
to think it's cool is your little self that still lives with.
Wait, the Rose character has the worst hair, but she has the most... You mean her, right? I guess it is a little weird. But I like her hair a lot, especially when it looks like this. It seems like it has the most dimension, relatively. Because you can see like each part of the hair going to like a separate part of her head. Yeah. She's pretty cool.
Within you in your memories. So in my case, that meant making a dragon, a little dragon that hoards sweets and cakes. I really love dragon mythology and the idea of different dragons having different hoards of things, so I thought this would be a really great way to add together two of my childhood obsessions. The reason I really want to start here is because I feel like a lot of the time what can sap the joy away from our art is forgetting this base, forgetting that early version of yourself when you were only drawing for you. It is really hard to get back there, but it is totally possible. I also made a...
I'm still there, TBH. I mean, I don't really get commissioned, so... it's just me drawing for myself.
Little Garfield cupcake inspired by the fact that a lot of my earliest drawings were just tracing paper over Garfield comics. I was always quite a comics fiend, but
okay, that explains a lot about Lavender Town.
in the early days, I didn't have access to any comic books, so usually it was just grabbing the comics pages out of my parents' newspaper and reading them obsessively, and then eventually, like, I would ask my mom for collections of Calvin and Hobbes and Garfield and stuff like that, and it really started my comics journey, so I had to include Garfield in there somewhere. Whatever your main things are, try to just pick like 2 or 3 so it doesn't become too much of a cacophony, and really try to enjoy the parts of it that you enjoyed as a kid. Don't stress too much about like it looking formally nice. You really just want to tap into that old school joy you used to get just like doodling with a crayon.
I feel like Lavender Town low-key just like hates colors sometimes. Like, why is this dragon so pale? And the cake's so like bold and vibrant, and yet it has no like gradients, no lighting on it. I don't know, like these round shapes would look so nice with a little bit more lighting, a little bit more texture. I would like to see her experiment with that.
On as a little kid. I really recommend this exercise, it's very fun. Next, I want you to pick some time periods or art movements that you really love. Every era used different materials, different color palettes, and broke realism rules in different ways or to different degrees. Now obviously you aren't going to be exactly mimicking this time period in your own art style, but I find one way to avoid looking too stereotypical to the time that you currently live in.
What the fuck is that emoji mink? Huh. Looks kind of like scissors.
Is to take a few small qualities or inspirations from the past. Some of my favorite eras of art are Impressionism, like Van Gogh, Monet, and Mary Cassatt, Paleolithic art,
Ugh, this makes me cringe because, I mean, everybody likes Impressionism, or at least so I think, because I really like Impressionism and Fauvism and Pointillism sometimes. But her art shares like 0 features with Impressionism because it doesn't have any lighting. Impressionism is all about lighting.
like cave paintings and these wonderful little sculptures. And 90s and 2000s
That makes a lot of sense. The Paleolithic art.
alternative comics. For this drawing, gather up references
also
from
makes
your
sense.
favorites. Don't worry if they look super weird and different from each other, that's where the uniqueness of combining them comes in. You're not copying any of these, just the parts of them that you love most. For me, I'm using the line art from the 90s comics with their scratchy and intense lines. I'm going to include little creatures inspired by the Paleolithic sculptures in the background, as well as a little bit of that texture. And I'm going to use the colors and light from the Impressionists I love most. Pick out some details from your references and try to combine them into one drawing of your own. Now, you may notice that for me, this actually doesn't look that different from what I draw, and that's because this is the way that I built my style originally. I wasn't even aware of it at the time, but like the pastels mixed with the super expressive and scratchy line art, that already was a combination of these beautiful pastel colors that I loved from the Impressionists and the
Yeah, she's using the line art styles of 90s comics, which, like, the scratchiness of it, but it just looks like her normal art, I think. I mean, that's kind of natural considering she's drawing it, and she's not, like, pushing herself very much.
these comics that I kind of grew up collecting and trying to find. And as for the Paleolithic
The fact that she's using the Paleolithic art is only, like, a tiny part of the image. It's not, like, the main subject. Seems a little bit disappointing to me. Like, shouldn't she be using the, maybe, like, the proportions of it? Or the colors, or, like, the simplicity of it? If she really wanted to take this exercise seriously.
little creatures, well, in my next comic, you'll definitely see that there's some inspiration there. The important thing is to not copy one inspiration point directly, and this is where a lot
Also, I'm so jealous of her paint bucket tool working properly. Like, mine will leave white spots everywhere.
of people run into trouble.
I
They'll
think she uses
start with
Photoshop.
something they really love. For me, it was Soul Eater. I was a big Soul Eater copier. And then after some time, I really felt like I was just like a Soul Eater, like a worse version of the mangaka of Soul Eater. And I realized I had to stretch my wings and start taking inspiration from more than just one place. And that's how art movements continue to change and artists keep coming up with original stuff, even though there's been so many different iterations of sculpture and painting and art. There's always going to be more because humans are really good at building off of what previous people have done
I use Clip Studio Paint.
and combining them in totally fresh new ways. So I also wanted to include some of the hatching that I really loved and used to obsessively do in all of my little comics when I was a teen. Still trying to tap into the things that really got me obsessed with drawing when I was a young person. I also color picked a ton of colors from Water Lilies, and I think it looks really cute, and I kind of love her. Honestly, I would love to see this as like a trend on social media of artists showing kind of the eras that they love most next to the art that they make and just see what they've subconsciously or
Yeah, I used to use Ibis Paint with my finger as well. It's a good starter app, especially with all the new features that they've added since I was using it. Clip Studio Paint and Procreate are definitely like the favorites. It's those and Photoshop, which is a scam in my opinion. Ibis Paint on the computer version is definitely not worth it. First of all, I'm pretty sure it doesn't distinguish between your stylus and your hand, so if you're drawing on a touch screen, it's evil. But since you use Procreate, that means you have an iPad, probably. Well, actually, I wouldn't recommend you use a stylus on your phone. I had better like coordination with my finger. It's kind of hard to see through the stylus because your screen is so small. If you are drawing on an iPad, though, a stylus would be a good idea. I'm drinking pina colada.
Consciously picked up. Okay, now that we've gotten in touch with two areas of the past, our childhood and the artists who came before us, it's time to look at the present. Pull up a drawing you've done recently, either with sticky notes on your sketchbook or in a new layer on the drawing. In a digital program, circle areas that you really like about your current style. Write them down as well. Next, think about the things that you aren't quite happy with yet. This is a great way to make sure that you're improving your skill without losing your uniqueness. So for me, my favorite parts of my style are the scratchy line art, the irises that change shape, and the playfulness. Looking at this drawing in particular, I ended up circling a couple areas that I probably otherwise wouldn't have thought of. One thing that I especially like about my own style, and make sure that you are able to talk positively about your own art, because not being able to is really detrimental to your art career. I know it sounds conceited when you're not used to it, but you have to be able to say the things you like as well as the things that you need to improve. So for me, it's like the creative liberty that
The basic background is fine because it puts more of the focus on the character. Even though, I don't know, if I was drawing this subject personally, I would use a dark background to make the character look scarier, and then I would add I would use light to highlight the scarier elements of this character, like maybe the eyes, maybe the weapons, the tie looks kind of scary.
I take, like with this fan art, I changed parts of her outfit to just amplify more the energy I was trying to get. And I also really love some new shading things that I was trying in this image, as well as the hatching throughout her skirt to give it fabric texture. And then I noticed a few places, like the background seems a little bland to me. I'm not happy with one of the hands, and I generally feel like both the pose and the expression of the mouth could be improved. So, you know, obviously your weaknesses and strengths will be different than mine.
Oh, sorry.
Hey everybody, it's Lavender Town.
And there was a point where I really started to lose personality in my art style. So one of the hands, and I generally feel like both the pose and the expression of the mouth could be improved. So, you know, obviously your weaknesses and strengths will be different than mine, but
Yeah, last time I used Photoshop was maybe in 2019. I mean, the one thing that was unique about Photoshop is that it took account of the angle at which your pen was held, and then it would treat paintbrushes differently. But I don't know. It's not that useful. It's not that that notable of a feature in traditional art. Like if I use a paintbrush, whether I'm holding it in this direction or whether I hold it in this direction isn't going to make much of a difference. And then you have to have a 3D sculpt of the brush in order for it to matter which angle you hold it at. Like if I take this brush, it's kind of flat, it's wide on this end, and then it's narrow on this side. It's sort of a flat wash brush. If I draw like this, I'm going to get thin lines, and if I go this way, then I'm going to get thick lines. If I tilt it this way, I get I paint more. If I do this, then I'm painting less because there's less contact between the surface and the brush. But this angle doesn't matter that much, really. You're still going to cover the same distance with your stylus because you're drawing from one pixel to another, basically. I don't know. It's not that useful of a feature, even though it is cool.
You should have something that kind of looks like this by the end.
You can actually collect all these references and drawings together somewhere visually so you can remind yourself and track your style's evolution. I'm going to be using Milanote, the sponsor of this video, but you can use whatever you like working in best. of what I'm going to build around, proving in these how I did it. A lot of the times I save that in a very, at least one with this is good just to keep your some whenever I feel like hands don't have things that you full visual organized and keep adding to that, like line up, because it's one of those basic do studies. Keep track of your strengths is just as important things that I say, like your thing. I took my son new wing planes, no mountains, that really put it because I left a little at it just to go back boring childhoods for whatever images on the first it really is right now are and really love Monet and 9-Beard Mix Note. Check out the link in my description, and thank you so much again to Milanote for continuing to support this channel. It is my favorite organizational tool, and I use it even when they're not actively sponsoring me, so if you trust my...
You could use OneNote, I think. It's just free, but only if you have Windows Office or Microsoft Office.
My taste, I guess you should definitely give it a shot.
Okay, for our next step, we're going to be looking to the future, the way you want to add fun and whimsy to your art style moving forward. This is the hardest part for me to tell you because everyone's art and artistic journey is going to be different, but there are a few things that might be helpful to keep in mind. Try to play around with different styles in your sketchbook. It's one of the best ways to find new things that you like. And I know this sounds like boring advice, but when you're out and about, try not to distract yourself when you're bored. Look around at the details of the space that you're in and think about what looks most interesting to you.
Okay, this is actually banger advice. She's like, get off your damn phone and start looking at the world around you. This is great advice for artists and for people in general. I guess creatives in general.
Could be the worn texture of the carpet at school, a weird looking cloud in the sky, a pretty leaf on the sidewalk. It's all visual information that you can use in your art later. You can even take pictures of interesting textures and shapes in the world and reference that or even overlay them into your art. Go to art museums if you have any near you and spend some time just absorbing everything you see. There are so many things that inspire me in life, and it's not until I really had that taken.
There's this really amazing clip in Psyche K, the anime, where the blue-haired character, who's like the Chunibyo guy, meaning he's like, he pretends that he's like fighting demons and shit. He pretends to be an anime character even though he is an anime character. He like stands in front of a painting and like doesn't move, and he's like, hee hee hee, everybody around me thinks that I'm thinking hard about the painting, that I'm such an intellectual. And the main character has like a bajillion psychic powers, so he can read minds, of course, and he hears that, he's just like, typical. Anyway, I bring this story up to say that some people will spend lots of time in front of paintings to look pretentious, and that's something that I imagine ever since I saw that anime, because it's something I do low-key. But if you want to improve at art, it's a good idea to like go to art museums and actually like pay attention to all the fine details and the composition and the lighting and the whatever in pieces that are in art museums.
In a way, like during lockdown, that I realized how much I need outside stimuli in order to come up with new ideas. It can be so easy to just stay inside all day, but you know, whenever you're out and about, really try to look at everything around you, because you'll be amazed at how many ideas you'll start randomly having. Like I talked about in the Milanote section, collecting photos that you really love for whatever reason, just love like whatever's in your area, whether it's a cool bug, a beautiful leaf, some kind of weird advertisement, a billboard that's malfunctioning, you know, whatever it is, having those pictures and looking back at them and just like really paying attention to what you think is beautiful or interesting can really help guide your.
Speaking of this, here's the Glorp fountain. This is in Theodore Roosevelt Island. It's in his memorial. and it's a very very algae filled fountain. There's 2 of these, and they're both extremely green, very vibrant green. It's amazing. Okay. Go outside and touch grass is the advice? Yes. If you're an artist, it's extremely important to go outside and touch grass. That's how you get inspired.
Aesthetics in the future when it comes to your own art, because a lot of the time
You have to like see things in the physical world and find interest in them. It's not enough to just go outside. Like when I went on my hike to the island, one thing that I found really interesting is the tension in between the like the natural stuff all around me. Like at one point I had to crawl through a spider web with a giant spider in the middle of it. But at the same time, I was still hearing the sounds of like music playing and people partying from the city. I was on an island like off the coast of the city, basically. So the sound traveled very easily through the open air. And that was interesting. It made me write like some extra details in my book in a scene where the protagonist and his groomer like leave a dance for the graduating class, and they go out onto the beach and play. But at the same time, the like festivities are still, they can still hear them, even though they're very far away, because that's just the geography.
we have these like very curated or like algorithmically decided groups of images online, but in real life all you can really follow is your own heart. You know, there's really, it's about whatever excites you and what you look at, and I think that can really help with the uniqueness of your point of view, which I think is super important when it comes to your art and your art style. I hope this video was helpful, or at least entertaining. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you do any of these exercises, please show me on Blue Sky or Instagram. You can tag me and I will take a look, because I really think that they're so fun and they will be different for every single person, which I think is just the coolest.
Blue Sky.
Thank you so much for watching till the end, and I'll see you in the next one.
Sky.
Thank you so much to my wonderful members and patrons, including Pigsty Princess, F62541, Harper Hatcher, Kasane Teto is the best in the world, Kyujum, Eilimation, Sleepy Owl, Sunny's Art in the Sky, Grexius, Kingdom Hearts Sucks, Lumbot.
Oh, she's still reading. Still reading comments. Okay. Next video is gonna be funny. It's like 5-10 minutes. Whirl, you missed. Yeah, our Blue Sky is not the artist Twitter. There are way more artists on Twitter than there are on Blue Sky. There are a bunch of social medias that are specific for artists, like ArtStation, Kara, DeviantArt, if you still use it. Next video is
In
this
the art space,
painter
you-
got caught faking like an actual traditional painting. So this YouTuber is like a Sunday core drama slop farmer. And she has a lot of videos where there's like there's somebody who traces AI or is using AI. There's one person who is really good at photo bashing. Photo bashing is when you take a bunch of photos and you like take pieces of them and arrange them together like a collage, and you can create a new picture with it. So the person that was really good at photo bashing, they like took other people's drawings and they like filtered them so that they would look consistent with each other and that they would look sufficiently different from the original work and would create like new art pieces by combining other people's art pieces. And Like this, okay, the skill level of this person is amazing. Like, of course they're dishonest, they're like scamming their commissionees. But I can't help but admire them for like how successful their products were. Anyway,
often see people use generative AI to scam people with digital art, but you don't often see it happen as much using traditional works.
Yeah,
But
this is
there is
what
a call out
caught
post
my
that
eye.
leads to a bigger rabbit hole of something that's happening in the traditional art space. So let's delve into the story of this painter who maybe
Okay, so an interesting point here is that with digital art, it's really easy to pass off completely AI generated art as if it's just like you drew it yourself. Like I have drawings and then I could probably generate something similar using an AI. And there's no way that I can prove that I drew it because I can't like take a video of it in real life. In real life, I can take a drawing and then I can be like, see, it's real. I can do all of these crazy things to it. I can put it in my mouth. AI can't do that. Apparently. I don't know. People do time-lapse the layers and the strokes, and people will like fake. People can fake speed paints.
isn't painting at all. And again, please don't send hate to any parties involved. So this kicks off with a call-out post made by Threads user Canolani Life, writing, "Now I'm pissed all the way off. Not only are there whole AI influencer accounts, but there are now AI accounts pretending to be real artists, creating physical artwork. What the F? They just started and they already have 12,000 followers." So this is just a screenshot
That's
of
crazy.
the person's account, and we'll delve into the account in a second, but their username is Arthur Ron, and it features a woman with brown hair tied up in a bun, loose, messy curls around her face. She's wearing like a white shirt and like a smock over it, and is sketching on a canvas that it looks like she's gonna paint over. This is already, to me, a bit
Yeah, I think this woman might also be AI because okay, so look at the straps on the shirt. There's one here and then there's another one of equal width over here. That looks kind of strange. Like oftentimes women might wear like a tank top and a bra or a like two tank tops layered on top of each other. And if that happens, yes, this YouTuber does talk about fucked up people in like terms of art. No, the apron strap is up here. So this is two tank tops that are somehow the same width. The apron goes up here. See this like brownish beigeish color? It repeats itself up here. Yeah, I think also the lighting just looks kind of strange on this person.
interesting because I definitely
Ro, you're just being racist. You can't tell apart Asian people.
feel like white is a choice to wear if you're gonna be painting. Hey, people can wear whatever you want, you know, but like you're gonna get paint on that white
That is a funny choice.
tank top, and it's not gonna be white for very long if you're painting, but it is what it is. But again, their sketch piece is of
I actually have a white, like, cropped tank top that has a whole bunch of paint all over this area because I was painting. And it was acrylic gouache, I think, so it didn't come out.
a woman. She's kind of wearing like a floral robe or cloak of some sort, but really notably, she has a ton of flowers obscuring her eyes. We'll revisit that in a second. But OP adds, not to beat a dead horse, but also I just looked through the Etsy. The whole thing is ChatGPT and just mass-produced prints. There are no real photos of the art ever. Look at the paint in this video on their Etsy. It's absolutely deplorable to try to convince people this is real art. And this is one of the Etsy videos where you can see they kind of have like a little tool and they're applying what looks like paint on a canvas. It's so thick that it looks like they're applying like putty of some sort. Now, I rarely ever do traditional art, so I don't know what this could be. It kind of looks like it's like that knife technique people are using, as an AI is trying to replicate that, but it's so thick. This again, it literally looks like they're applying like whipped cream to a canvas. But if you look at the video of them applying the
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck this is.
paint, it doesn't kind of make sense because this piece looks already finished. It is like a giant wave, kind of maybe an inspiration of that Japanese wave painting, but it looks already done.
Yeah, the way that I would imagine that this was drawn is that first they drew the waves in the back, and then they drew this big blue wave, and then they add the white stuff on top. Yes, this content is just reading out Reddit posts.
With like
I will watch it because I don't have Twitter or Threads or whatever. She has all the social media. And I don't have the time for that.
texture of waves and stuff like that of the white water already drawn in, and then they just go in with this brush and then just smudge everything out.
I hate Reddit! People will downvote my comments even when I'm right. It's so upsetting. The other day, somebody made a post about like how everybody should carry Narcan because you can help people that are having an overdose. Sure, yeah, sounds great. And then somebody was like, as a petite woman, I don't help people that are overdosing because there's a chance that they'll assault me after the withdrawal symptoms, and I just won't take that risk. And then I commented underneath like, okay, I commented, what if the person dies? And I got like 30 downvotes for that. I get that I could be a little bit naive in maybe like, but still, I don't think that the petite woman is gonna die from being assaulted by the person that's going into withdrawal. Reddit is horrible. People are all stupid and most posts are bots anyways, so the stupid person you're arguing with isn't even a real idiot. Okay, I'm not getting into arguments, luckily. Somebody did insult my YouTube videos, though. That upset me, too. They didn't even watch my videos, and they were like, this person's so proud of their lame YouTube videos. And I was like, you didn't even watch them. I didn't even say I was proud of them, I just said they exist. People are so mean. Why are people so mean on Reddit? And just like on social media in general. It's like the thing where if we're not face to face with each other, you think you can just say anything. And you think you have to be mean. Like you're incentivized to be mean. Or something. Even though you're not. Like it's actually stressful. I imagine that everybody on Reddit is a person just like me. Like, if I think that they're like a hive mind or that they have nothing better to do, that they're like an inferior category of human to me, I feel like that would make me narcissistic and megalomaniacal and evil. But man, why are people so mean?
So they completely wipe it off. So I guess they're maybe going to paint over it, but that's definitely interesting given the fact that it looks completed already. So this post was also posted a day ago, right? And somebody says, already that many followers? That's so unfair and it should be forbidden. AI destroys human creativity. And
AI does not destroy human creativity.
OP says 13,000 followers now, if any of them are even real. And another person adds, what the F? That looks like a ripoff of B.Lilybridge. And B.Lilybridge, aka Brandon, responds, this is crazy. It looks exactly like one of mine, crying emoji. And another commenter says, yes, I saw the sketch and immediately thought, I know this motive. I've seen this before. It's awful. Because yes, it looks like a piece that is very reminiscent of Brandon Lillibridge's work. Whereas
with the
Brandon is
flowers.
really notable for doing paintings like this, of women with their eyes obscured, notably with flowers. Here are just some of Brandon's paintings. We can have another video example of Brandon's paintings. Again, absolutely stunning. And here again, he has a piece of a woman wearing that with a robe on. So let's take a look at this person's page, shall we? Between yesterday and
I think they're a little kitschy.
today, they now gain another 900 followers. They're almost at 14,000 followers, and they have a lot of different art pieces. Notably, in fact, in a ton of different styles, because somehow they can paint both abstract work and this more kind of like abstract.
No, Whirl, like somebody else doing something bad doesn't mean that it doesn't take away from your work. In the slightest. Like whether or not somebody else uses AI doesn't affect your journey and your product is what I'm saying.
But also realistic work, the one, you know, in the style of Brandon. And then pieces like this, landscape pictures. And then we have this stylized art style. Everything is somehow really different. And yes, even though it is in the same or similar medium,
Yeah.
right? Still, the subject matter, when it is this specialized, typically artists don't necessarily deviate too much away from subject matter that they tend to favor. Like we saw.
Yeah, the diversity is really strange. Like there's no art style. Even like this painting really stands out to me because the color selection feels really flat and surrealistic. It reminds me of Matisse a little bit in the way that it lacks lighting in sort of a creepy, unsettling way. Same with this one, like the amount of skiers looks wrong. And then this painting and this painting have like the extremely thick paint strokes. And then this is abstract. This is abstract. Like why are these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things better than Hitler's paintings? I am not familiar with Hitler's paintings, but I'm sure that at least some of these AI generated paintings are better.
Saw with Brandon's, right? Like Brandon obviously has painted other stuff too, but typically this is a lot of what you could expect from Brandon because, you know, this.
Still, clearly the owner of this account doesn't really have an artistic taste, because when you're an artist, you tend to enjoy very specific things. Like you develop an aesthetic for yourself. That's what it means to have an art style.
This is Brandon's art style. This is the subject matter he likes to capture. And again, occasionally Brandon has other styles of painting. Like, you know, this one. It was definitely always interesting when you see a huge variety of different art styles. It makes me feel like, But every single video looks like this, okay? Because it features the same woman putting a really, really big dollop of paint on the canvas. And then we have a clip.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that world. Sorry, I know the story, but I don't know his specific paintings.
Of her like staring at it, and then a majority of it though is just like a long clip of the painting hung up somewhere. We have another one where she's doing the same thing, kind of painting with the knife like on the canvas, and this looks so AI generated. She's wearing the same outfit in every single video. This is the video of the picture of the piece that looks really similar to Brandon's, but to me looks odd because the flowers are painted on before the face was painted on. Now maybe that order makes sense, but I mean, for me thinking about it, I feel like you'd paint the face first, no? Then the flowers afterwards. Because the flowers are the really textured part that stands out on top of the canvas. We have another one. She somehow gets a brand new workspace. So that's interesting. And this is a completely different art piece. What's interesting too is you can see that like she's painting and like things aren't appearing. Because this is AI generated. This is not real. She's not a real person. Here we have another one. Like she just...
Yeah, I would expect the lighting to change as she's painting these, because it takes a long time. I would expect the outdoor lighting, like the sun would shift above her. If she's in the morning, the painting in the morning, then the sun would shift, and then there would be less light. Mink says Hitler could not even manage to line up his perspective. Hitler art defenders, or people who say it wasn't that bad, are speaking out of their ass. He was absolutely not performing at the level of entering art school at the time. Okay, now I have to look at Hitler's art. I'm curious. Okay, Wikipedia. Let's go here. His preferred structure was architecture. Instead of progressing, his works copied from 19th century and other artists. He drew that stuff. He liked the technical ability to treat his teacher. He was rejected twice. Okay, there's one. I mean, the lighting is weird, but the perspective looks fine to me, I guess, in this one. Hitler. Okay, the perspective definitely looks wonky here. This just doesn't look very good, I guess. I don't know what's with this one. That's pretty cool. But I don't know what's going on with these weird textures over the walls. Like, why is the school in, like, camo print? This looks like a very bad image, but the painting looks fine, I guess. Maybe if this was a better image, we would see more flaws, but this building looks really weird. Like, these windows look off. Is it moss on the building? Certainly not, no. It looks very unnatural for moss. Ugh. Something about this one just makes me ugh. It looks like watercolor, but why is it so yellow? I don't like this one. This does not look good either. Like, the perspective looks kind of wonky on this one. Like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck are these people? And why are these people leaning to the left and this one leaning to the left? These look okay. I mean, the horse looks kind of weird. You got this blue-yellow thing going on for lighting in all of his pictures. Yeah, I don't like it. It's really... it's gross. I used to have it too when I was a younger artist. A. Hitler 1909. So this was after he was rejected. He kept painting. I don't know. This isn't the worst thing in the world, I guess. It still looks like a student's, not a professional's. Broken. This building looks like a broken video game 3D render. Yeah, I can see that. It's a little, like, gumpy. Also, yeah, you're right. All of his light is blue and all of his light is yellow and his shadows are always blue. It's kind of weird and fucked. Like, the blue shadows here look awful. Vienna State Opera, 1912. Mm. Yeah, these colors are really weird. Like, why is this... Okay, shouldn't this be the same material? Why is this shadow so different from this shadow? And this shadow. I get that this might be a different material, but it shouldn't be. Also, what is this? This woman right here. I... Hitler. Anyway. Yeah, looks like I'm not a big fan of the Hitler drawings. President's son, I think how different history would have been if someone went, no, no, no! Make your shadows gray! Who knows? The sun is weirdly just acting differently in different places, yeah. Art school conservations were tiny and hardcore. The perspective of it looks all over the place. Yeah, fair enough. I'm not very good at perspective, so that might be why I'm not, like, picking up on this super quickly. It could also be the Pina Colada! Okay. Anyway, this is funny to me.
Stands there and her left arm just hangs limply the
Is this color acrylic or oily? It's acrylic.
entire time. And then again, another montage of the painting being hung up in some room. And again, you might be like, well, Kat, how do you know it's fully AI generated? Maybe it's real and it was like post-processed through AI. Well,
This
you
is
see,
backwards.
we have this video. She unveils that horse painting, right? She's sketching the horse on. What is that? What is that? That
Also, this account name is Arthur Ron. Are we meant to believe that this woman is Arthur?
is a Google Gemini logo. They didn't even fucking hide it in the bottom corner of the video. Absolutely caught in 4K. And one thing I want you to notice is look at the tubes of paint that's being used. The text on the paint is not consistent between paint 2 to paint 2. But these
Okay,
look like they
that's
should be
fine,
the same
though.
brand.
It could be
if this
same
Gemini
brands.
logo wasn't obvious enough for you. Right here we have another video, another
Oh,
clip of
wait,
her
no.
painting. Mind you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fingers in this clip. Also with the Gemini logo. They aren't even trying to hide it. But wow,
Wait.
now we have, see look, another Gemini logo. They aren't even
Oh my god! Oh no, this stuff is still happening. Not the diamond logo, yeah. This stuff is still happening in the big 26.
trying to hide it. But wow, now
I didn't know Gemini could generate videos. That's horrible.
we have, see look, another Gemini logo. This one, they did a really bad job of trying to hide this. So she hangs it up. Not on my watch. Oh, an absolute 4K. Look at that. Now, if you notice in all of these videos, though, there is this Art Trio logo in the top left-hand corner. What possibly could this be? Wow, if you look up Art Trio, it takes you to a website. The website is, featuring trusted worldwide collectors, mediums, whatever. Look at all of these happy people with their abstract art, where all of these people conveniently also look very AI generated. And now we have a lot of paintings. And you can see, wow, how your farmhouse can be illuminated by this top-down beach painting of waves coming in. And wouldn't you know it, they have an Etsy shop as well. Apparently, they're based in Hong Kong. And these are the same paintings, right? That vintage abstract horse. This was the one that I just showed you. Miss Ma'am had the Gemini logo in the bottom corner. And here's different images
from
of how you could
California,
imagine
huh?
it hung up in your place. And they're just straight up, in my opinion, lying under their descriptions. Handmade artwork disclaimer. Each painting is 100% hand painted and many are made to order. Small variations may occur. During the painting process, we'll share photos or videos for you to review.
Yeah, this is the main issue. Like, if people were open about AI generated artwork, they could say, hey, I'm gonna AI generate this piece, and then if you want to order it, I'll print it out for you, and then you can hang it up. And some people would be fine with that, but AI artists can't stop, like, lying about what they're doing for some reason. which I think is silly.
Review. So about this, the artist is apparently a person named Elena Moore. But for some reason, the store's name is Koval, as Koval looks to be the seller. And then if you go to the about, there's a video summary of the studio featuring pictures of this woman who doesn't look like the same person in the videos that we saw. And then, you know, she gives a little blurb, a
Why is she smiling like that? I hate Americans.
little backstory as to why she started this shop. Shop member is Amelia. So what's your name? What is your name? Elena or Amelia or Koval?
I believe art should be felt, not rushed. Whatever the fuck that means. Each canvas is painted slowly, with care and intention. I mean, even if you're not very intentional, it's still gonna be painted slowly because artwork takes a long fucking time.
Or, none of these are real, possibly. And you know what's also crazy is that if you reverse image search some of the paintings, like this skiing one, there's a
This is not abstract or I don't think it's minimalist either, really. I mean, look at how much fucking texture there is in these slopes. It's too much.
other random art sites that are also selling paintings like this for around the same price of like $180. Like this one, Cecile Art, is also a page that's selling artwork like this. Conveniently, you know, we also got the horse one. And then if you scroll down, Timeless Art for Modern Spaces, featuring more photos of AI-generated people painting. And these sites also acclaim everything is hand-painted by professional artists. We don't use print or digital reproductions. But all of these dudes look super AI-generated. Also on a side note, I think all of the skiing stuff is inspired by this other artist called Golsa Golcini.
Yeah, I wonder what the fuck these people, the people who like fall for this and order this stuff in the mail receive. I'm so curious.
I hope I'm saying their name right, but they do a lot of like textured artworks, kind of like this, because I remember seeing this piece and I remember thinking this was sick as hell. But I mean, if you order the painting, right, this was what was advertised. You know, people are showing images of the paintings that look kind of similar. But yeah, I definitely don't think that Arthur Ron, this account, is just one individual. But yeah, it's advertised, you know, people are showing
what this reviewer said. Seller was so kind of redid my painting because I didn't love it at first. She sent me photos along the way prior to shipping. Painting also had wrong shipping address accidentally, and seller was so apologetic and tracked my package down and reshipped it to me correctly. Sent tracking info too. But absolutely work with her again. What do you mean work with her? You just bought a painting from her. Oh, it's unstretched. That's weird. That's really weird.
showing images.
That means that they were just sending the cloth, and then the buyer would have to like stretch it out onto the wooden like stalks by itself.
Of the paintings that look kind of similar. But yeah, I definitely don't think that Arthur Ron, this account, is just one individual, the person that is being shown in the video, painting these paintings, you know, and then selling it to you as one person who will draw it the way that you want if you don't like the colors or whatever. I feel like it's just some middleman company, right, who is manufacturing all of these paintings for cheap, probably with some painters from overseas that are being paid pretty low amounts of money. And then we have this AI generated page fronting as the artist, pretending they are just one person doing it when it's just a conglomeration.
Richard, don't forget to put links in description.
Or an organization. That is my personal theory at the end of the day, but I rarely see like AI generated scammers in the traditional art space, at least from what I've seen, mainly because I operate more in the digital side of things. So it's honestly wild to see. It was like I wanted to snoop, and then finding that Gemini logo was like, well, caught in 4K right here. So at the end of the day, what are your thoughts about this? Because have you seen this before? Because this is my first time seeing it, so I wanted to share it with y'all. Again, don't send hate to any parties involved, but stay vigilant, guys. And with that, if you like this video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. I went to Warped Tour, had a lot of fun, got the worst sunburn ever. We don't talk.
Okay, let's start on the next one. I don't know what this one's going to be about. It's called Artists Are Down Bad and Seeking Help.
Hi, hello Flutrowers, how's it going? Today we're going to be looking through r/art advice on Reddit to see what kind.
I love artist Reddit. People will post like the worst thing you've ever seen, and they'll be like, why am I not getting commissions? Or, can I have some advice, please? I need to make a video where I like go through r/art improvement and help people there, because the people on r/art improvement are generally a couple of years behind me in terms of progress. And I don't even think that I'm that good at art. Like, I've never gone to any school professionally, and even though people will like compliment my anatomy, I just kind of wing it most of the time. I mean, like, this is a study I did. This is also, I guess, a study I did of somebody else's like 2D artwork. But for the most part, I'm just winging stuff on my own. Without reference and stuff. Like, nothing here is referenced, for example. It's generally just how I roll. Oh yeah, also, I need to run to the bathroom. So, I'm gonna turn on some music and BRB.
kind of advice artists are seeking, what kind of advice Reddit provides, and what kind of advice we can provide. So make some tea, draw along, eat along, and let's get into it.
Thank you. I am unmuted now. I said that art school is for people who are good at art, who are losers, and I'm totally not jealous of them.
TikTok hates my art style. Here we go. What's new? Every time I make a post for a fandom I'm not frequently posting in,
Okay, I would have to say that this art style is a little bit uncanny because it looks like they're going for some semi-realism with the nose shape and the shading on like the cheekbones. But at the same time, they're not going realistic with the colors. Like people with this hair color in realism don't really exist. But I don't find this art style that unpleasant. I just understand why other people would. Because it looks like they're taking the color scheme from anime and it doesn't work with their like line art style that much.
I receive tons of hate comments on my art, always mocking specifically my.
This looks fine, I guess, but sort of the same issue. Like it feels like there's too much detail on the faces. Like the hands and the clothes and everything look fine to me. If you just ignore the faces, everything looks like okay, I guess. I mean, not the best. Like the way that this background is just empty looks really weird and off-putting to me. And this hat also looks like a chair instead of a jester hat, which it's supposed to be if you look at this little triangle down here.
Art style and never giving any real critique, but I just don't get it. What's so.
This piece, yeah, this lighting is just not right. This lighting looks very uncanny. Like, the way that the inner eyes are so bright would suggest that there's a light coming, like, straight from here, right? But also the halo's glowing. And yet the halo is not casting any light onto the face. This is too bright, yeah. These inner eyes, and the eyelids. There shouldn't, I think, be like a highlight that's here and a highlight that's separately like the lower eyelids. It should be one unit. I think if I shine this light straight at my face. Yeah, I have a shadow on my lower eyelid and a highlight underneath it. This person should not be drawing a highlight on the lower eyelid over here. That looks really off. Also, the way that the hair is so flat looks quite off. Like the face, the skin on the face looks so detailed, and the hair is just like, it's less detailed than a cloud.
Awful about my art style anyways. Be honest, please. I'm trying to make my art more likable. Oh my goodness. Poor thing. I'm laughing not because I think it's funny. I'm laughing at how absurdly sad this is. I think posting fan art is always tricky because you're drawing already existing characters.
Okay, what the fuck is with this Chopper? I don't even like One Piece, but what did you do to him? Why does, like, the eyeballs are so realistic, and yet the irises are so realistic. Not even the sclera. The sclera don't look realistic. And yet the proportions are cartoony and weird. Like, I think that this guy looks okay-ish. Like the detail in the hair is a little bit and like the shadows feels a little bit uncanny. Like, I can't tell what the artist is going for. And this blue line art right here is... It doesn't go with the realistic rendering style. Like, this feels very, like, sometimes people will throw in random colors into their line art. Like these blues and magentas. And they don't make any sense, but they're inspired by Impressionist art, where Impressionists will just throw in some, like, complementary colors into their environments, and it looks pretty interesting. But here, all of the other colors are pretty grounded and realistic, so this blue here doesn't seem to make sense. And yeah, this Chopper deserves to die.
And every person in that fandom might have their own version of that character in their head of what that character should look like or be like or act like. And when they see...
I also think the creator is making a fair point here. Because sometimes people will draw a character from Zenless Zone Zero, and they'll give her boobs that are, like, too big. And then I'll be like... I'll grab my knife that exists in my mind, and I'll be like, "Ha! Ha! Ha!" in my head. But I'm a peaceful, I'm a peaceful person with no threat to any actual people existing in the world.
Your version of this character that
I'm not violent.
Does not look like the version they have in their head, they get mad because they treat it almost like their child or someone they know. So of course, how dare you portray my child in that way? You know what I mean? I think it's because you're exaggerating facial features, but they don't flow together, if that makes sense. I would practice expressions before you stylize them. It's not a bad style though, it's not as if you can't draw, it's just they look awkward. There's something a bit cringe to the expressions that I can't pinpoint, but I feel like with some work on the faces, it would be a huge difference. Yeah, it's giving me I caught my ADHD kick in on camera vibes.
What the fuck does that mean? I caught my ADHD kick in on camera vibes. Like, the facial expressions? Okay, I don't care.
Imagine getting bullied on TikTok, then coming to Reddit for advice, and getting bullied on Reddit as well. What a bad day. I agree with the comments that...
Well, these people aren't being mean, they're being constructive.
Yeah, fuck the haters, but my guess why it gets hate is the facial expressions you draw. The faces look like it's making dumb faces. There's nothing wrong with it, to be honest, but I can imagine that some people might find it looking...
Okay, this is terrible advice. The facial expressions is making dumb faces? What does that mean? That's not helpful. That's not constructive. Some people might find looking at it annoying because of the dumb faces. I don't know what that means.
Might find looking at it annoying. Yeah, I do think facial expressions need work, but again, I think a big part of it has to do with the fan art component of it all. If those were original characters or just random portrait studies, I don't think it would have received half as much hate as it does. Everyone I talk to says my art is scary or weird. These titles are devastating. Everyone you talk to says your art is weird. My god. So I draw in a very stylized...
Okay. Is this not scary or weird? It looks like it's intentionally, like, creepy. There's no sparkle in the eyes, mainly. That's the weird thing about it. Also, the dull colors. Like, I mean, I don't dislike this art style. I feel like the creepiness is intentional and it works for this person. It feels like a stronger element of this person's art style. Also, yeah, sometimes people just don't like your art, and that's fine. Like, that's what it means to have an art style. It means it's individualized. It means it's not universal. like fucking Hello Kitty or whatever.
Way, bigger eyes, longer nose, less detailed hands, etc. Every time I show someone my art, they say, "Oh, that looks weird," or "Haha, she's got a scary face." And I'm gonna go insane. What can I do to make it less scary without changing my style too much? So, you're saying that creepy and scary was not your intention? That's curious. You sometimes make features way too huge for the face and the proportions are such that it looks like it's meant to be off-putting. You should do face studies from artists you admire because you are probably in a habit with the way you draw them and are blind to your process. You know, there is this very common trope of beginner artists asking for advice and being told that their drawings are anatomically incorrect and them responding with, "Oh no, it's stylized. It's my style." And I think a lot of them just confuse anatomically incorrect with anatomically unrealistic. They think that anatomically correct means they have to draw in a realistic style with realistic proportions. So they say, "Oh no, it's my style." Your art does not have to be anatomically realistic to be anatomically correct and balanced. You can have any crazy style you want, but it doesn't mean that you don't have to follow basic rules of proportions and anatomy. In fact, you need to know anatomy and proportions very well in order to make a stylized drawing work and look good. But when you're just making a bunch of mistakes and calling that your art style, you're gonna get stuck in those mistakes because you're refusing to let that style go and take a step back and relearn. And in terms of,
I think cartoonists can just get away with anything.
if you want to make art less creepy, maybe try using more saturated colors, because generally when colors are gray and desaturated, everything looks creepier. Also, maybe don't skin half of a character's face or make them stare into the camera like a stalker. Maybe don't give
A restraining order means nothing.
them a chainsaw meant for bloody murder. A lot of things can be done here. People in my comments said this improvement could happen in a week. It's been 4 years. That's
The artist who drew Perry the Platypus spent years studying platypus anatomy before drawing. That's amazing. I love that. I mean, Perry the Platypus looks fantastic. What an iconic character.
the most devastating title I've ever read in my life. I redrew my OC from 2022, the first image is from 2022 and the second is from this year. I posted a YouTube short comparing them and I didn't think much about it. Well,
Okay. Well, in both situations, the individual features are a little bit cooked. This mouth looks much better, though. This nose, though, it looks almost the same in both drawings, except, it's, like, less red over here. And these eyebrows look better on the old version, actually. Like, why is this one so much bigger than this one? Here they look roughly the same size. But overall, the, like, placement and the proportions of each individual feature look much better here.
I got 2 comments making fun of me, one saying they would believe these 2 pieces were made 1 week apart. I pointed out the areas I think have improved, such as the line work and proportions, but they doubled down. So I guess I'd like to hear a second opinion, and I'd like to know if anyone would believe these were a week apart. Also, I did want to make this piece similar in terms of art style while still improving my techniques. See, this is the problem. When I was a beginner artist, I didn't have social media or TikTok or whatnot. I wasn't posting my art for strangers to criticize and tear apart. If I did that, I don't know if I would still be making art today. And we're not even talking cases of someone's art going viral and
Also, this looks fantastic. I love this.
receiving mass bullying. This person only got 2 negative comments. And this is already so upsetting to them, they had to make a post about it. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be like that. Because the craziest part is, those negative comments were probably left by
Yeah, I mean, if you're young, you feel like you have to do something. So you're gonna make another post. Not knowing that that post is just going to incite more people to insult you.
some middle schoolers who maybe can't even draw. at all. Because I'm telling you, there is no way an actual professional high skill level artist like Mark Brunette is sitting there typing hate comments on TikTok criticizing beginners. That would be crazy behavior. There is no way. So keep that in mind whenever.
Yeah, this is a good point. I mean, I, as a, like, intermediate, I still consider myself an amateur because I haven't had a lot of formal training, but as, like, an intermediate skilled artist, I can still, like, I still will critique beginner artists. Like, I'll say, like, hey, you should try this with your art. Like, maybe you should do your line art on vector layers, or, like, if you really struggle to draw circles, you can just use the circle tool and then, like, adjust things from there. Yeah, the people just leaving hate comments probably don't have anything constructive to say, which means they aren't skilled.
you're receiving those hate comments, there could be anyone behind that. They could be 7 years old. So take everything they say with a huge bucket of salt. I don't know if it's beneficial at all for beginners to be posting their art online nowadays. It feels like the cons outweigh the pros in most cases. Well, maybe it's different when it's posted in a designated community like this where people actually give some constructive criticism and it's being moderated. Maybe that could be helpful, but man,
I mean, sure, but most of the comments that we've seen from Redditors are shit. Like, these guys are making dumb faces, so some people are gonna think it's annoying to look at. That's worthless as a comment. And yet it got, like, a decent amount of upvotes.
my heart breaks every time. To be completely honest, yes, I agree with the sentiment, and I wouldn't normally say that unless you were explicitly asking like you are now. I think you might find some value in doing some anatomy studies from photos and following some tutorials. Yeah, I think fundamentals practice is needed here, especially anatomy. I saw another comment say it feels like you focused more on maintaining the art style, and that's exactly how it felt to me as well. Stylization is fun and perfectly valid, but it works better when built on a strong foundation of fundamentals. Yeah, I agree. Even though I think it's kind of hard to judge a 4-year process based on just one drawing, I wish we could see more drawings from this person. And they also said that they were kind of trying to maintain the same style, but I think...
Yeah, I don't think this looks amazing for a 4-year improvement, to be honest.
This is another fault of social media because everyone is so focused on finding your art style for some reason. So they stick and commit to this one thing before even learning the basics. And art style is like the most optional thing ever. You literally don't have
True.
to have one. You can switch styles and techniques every day if you want. In fact, you should be able to switch styles with ease and draw a bunch of different things, at least to some degree. And personal art style develops kind of on its own if you force it.
Okay, you guys probably don't know about this, but there's this discourse topic in the art community where some people will be like, oh, I can't draw black people because they don't fit into my art style. I can only draw people with, like, straight hair and people who have the same color on both sides of their hands. And it's not even, like, dark skin doesn't fit into my art style, because that's easy. You just change the color. It's like people will refuse to learn to draw textured hair or, like, lips or different types of noses, for example. And yeah, it's silly. It's evil. People are evil.
It is just gonna get in the way of your improvement, and that's not good. Is my art style that inconsistent? Please point out what...
Okay, this is worthless. Who cares if your art style is inconsistent? I mean, I guess it matters if you're, like, commercializing your art, because then people are going to expect something to look a very particular way if they commission art from you, and then maybe it won't turn out that way for you. But then again, you can just reference your own artwork. You can color pick from your own artworks. You can use the same brushes, use the same processes, and you're gonna get something that looks similar naturally, unless you're somebody who likes to experiment a lot.
What's unique about it and what's not?
Which looks deliberate with this person. Like, this person clearly is using different like strokes for the hair highlights here. They have these M shapes over here and over here. And they're not the same over here. Over here they drew vertical lines of various lengths. And over here they're drawing M shapes. Then the blush looks completely different here. They're drawing like a watercolory textured pink that blends into the shadows of the face. And here the blush is clearly drawn completely separately from the shadows. But there are some similarities. Like you can see how the smile is drawn in 3 separate lines, similarly to here. There's 2 highlights that they're signifying by erasing part of the line art or by not drawing it at all. They also use a bunch of like different colors in their shadows. Like there's this purple shadow and this pink shadow down here. And then there's this green shadow that doesn't really make any sense at all. And a pink shadow over here in the soccer ball. And similarly over here, this like presumably just like a black school uniform is like pink and purple and green in some places. And like the averages of these colors will give the main color, which is black.
Tell me everything that makes it so inconsistent, honestly. I wonder what they mean by that. They're using different brushes, textured and non-textured, which will inevitably give different feel to your drawings, but otherwise I don't see any inconsistencies between different drawings. I do, however, see a lot of inconsistency within every single drawing, which is very common when artists choose to skill max.
True! Like the lighting is very different on the different elements of the skin and the soccer ball. The soccer ball actually looks like a 3D model that they like painted on or something. It doesn't look like it's part of this drawing at all. And then this background looks like it's an asset, like a free asset from somewhere. It doesn't look like this person drew this background.
Only one specific thing, like the face, and they draw that very well, but completely forget to practice anything else. So one single drawing looks like it was drawn by 2 different people with different skill levels, because the level of anatomy and clothing here is nowhere near the level of face and hair. It's not inconsistent. Thank you, top comment. And again, consistent art style is literally the last thing you need to worry about while you're
I love that the top comment just like puts this person down. Is like, sit down!
learning. You need to try different things and stylistic choices and mediums and be inconsistent. Otherwise, you might get stuck in your mistakes forever. Is my art that bad? Why is every title so sad? I've been trying to get viral on TikTok for a few months now, but I don't have any luck with it. I always get stuck at 20 likes. Does my art suck or the algorithm doesn't like me? Please let me know your opinion on what is bad in my art. I'm really curious. Please don't say I should post my art on Twitter, Pixie, or here because I have tried it before. I would like to do commissions, but I'm not known anywhere, so it's hard that way. Well, good news is you don't really need an audience to do commissions. And bad news is, even if you do get an audience, it doesn't guarantee you getting commissions. I think this style looks really cool and unique, like this drawing especially.
Yeah, I like this drawing the most, probably. The other ones look pretty anatomically incorrect, and like the textured brushes that they're using don't look like they know how to handle them at all, or they don't look consistent with the level of detail and yeah, the level of detail of the other stuff.
Especially looks so awesome, so I would maybe expand on that. But otherwise, I just don't think getting internet virality or getting commissions are good goals to have.
Yeah.
Because those things
Absolutely.
are out of your control, mostly. So it's not a good achievable goal because you can't really work towards it. You can't measure it. You can't control it. The algorithm is random. Commission income is random and tied to the algorithm. A good goal to have would be, for example, making 5 drawings this week, or making 10 TikToks and posting them, or watching and following a tutorial. Those are specific measurable goals that you can actually achieve with your own effort. And those are the ones you should be setting for yourself, not those vague, abstract dreams, you know? Is it anatomically correct to have the character's head kind of sticking out from her neck like this? All things considered, this is the most anatomically correct anime screenshot I've seen in a long time. Animators usually go for quantity over quality because frame-by-frame animation takes an insane amount of time. So they have to draw really fast, and nobody really cares about every single frame being perfect or correct. That's why you should never try studying from anime screenshots, because those are
But so much anime is just static and like a slideshow that it's fine. The like parts that don't move just look good.
not good references. They are not made to be references, they are made to be animated. You can't take references in anime style if you want to learn anime style. There are plenty of high quality anime style illustrations or posters or good anime art that is made with way more time and effort behind it. But please don't take actual stop frames from animations for references. Maybe this is just the anime art style.
Yeah, I think it's fine to take anime screenshots, as provided that they're like those that are not in between frames.
Or I'm just used to characters having thicker necks or something, but in this shot I feel like the neck is placed a little too forward compared to the head. I feel like the character's right jaw is sticking out a bit too much compared to the character's neck. Am I just seeing things and the shot is still anatomically correct? I don't like the comments because they're not answering the question. They're just being like, duh, this is anime art style, it's not anatomically correct to draw a nose like a little dot
Everybody
and draw a
has to
mouth
say
with
something
two
even
lines
when they
and
have nothing
huge
to say.
eyes. It's stylized, can you tell? Like, I think they know it's stylized. I don't think this is the first time this person sees anime. I think they know. They're just asking if in this frame the head and neck look weird or not. And my answer would be no, it doesn't look weird. The right half of the face is sticking out more because the face isn't 2/3. She's not looking perfectly straight ahead, she's looking slightly sideways. That's why this side is further away from the neck than this side. That's my answer.
I don't think the neck thickness is the issue as much as it is the placement of the head. It looks like the head is too high and the neck is too long, I think. It just looks like the head and the neck are too separate. I might also leave it on this side, but then draw a little bit more over here because it looks like the back of the head is not supported. Because the way that the anatomy works is like the back of your head will like flow into the back of your neck. Like it's they're physically connected. There isn't like there's a little step, but it's not like the jaw will. Yeah, see, if I turn into this angle, then my neck goes beyond my jaw, which is over here, and my neck is over here. Yeah.
Sure. Which line art is better, messy or clean? Sorry, some differences, but both of them use the same sketch. I don't know why, but the first pen is so much easier to draw with and feels so satisfying, but someone told me it's messy and they prefer the clean line art, so I'm not sure. The smoother pen also takes more time, but maybe it's supposed to take more time for cleaner art. Well, I can tell that—
Duh! It takes more time to do stuff more carefully.
the first one was more satisfying for them to draw, because the second one doesn't look clean at all. It's actually the opposite. It looks like they did not care about it a single bit. Like, they just hated drawing it. It looks like they just took a thicker, smoother brush, but didn't actually try to make it clean. The line thickness is totally random. It's less detailed. Lines overlap and overshoot like everywhere. If you want it to be clean, you need to clean it up. I think the biggest difference is your line weight. In your messy line art, you have plenty of variation in your lines, which not only makes it much more organic, but also interesting to look at. Compare this to your clean line art, lacks this variation, which causes it to look pretty flat and unexpressive. Another thing, it looks like for your clean, you just drew over your messy, but your overall understanding of the piece didn't transfer over, such as the overall form of the hair, the cheekbone on the right being smooth, and the nose being posed downwards instead of being at a slight angle down. These are just to name a few that came to mind first. What I mean is it looks kind of soulless, like you were rushing just to finish the clean line art instead of actually enjoying it. That's what I'm saying. Hi, thank you, that helps a lot actually. I don't know why my mind was thinking that smooth lines mean no line weight for some reason. I appreciate the advice. Messy is about a bazillion times more.
Yeah, when I do clean line art, I still keep line weight, actually. It's really important to have, because line art kind of imitates ambient occlusion in some respects. Ambient occlusion is shadows that exist in ambient light, so like when there's light like bouncing off all the walls, or like light coming from every possible direction, and there will be shadows formed just by like stuff being close to other stuff. It's kind of hard to explain, but line art will show like edges that are like between objects, or like boundaries between objects, which can form ambient occlusion, or can be the same as ambient occlusion. Yeah. And thicker lines can be in places where there's like deeper shadows, or deeper shadows. So it's important to, or it's valuable to have various line weights to indicate lighting, even in clean line art.
More expressive here, no question. Whoever told you the clean is better is wrong. No, both of these are messy. The only difference is that the first one is intentionally messy, and this technique clearly feels more natural to this artist, and the second one is messy just because it's been done carelessly, and that's why it looks worse. And that's okay. If a more messy style is what feels natural to you, I don't think you should force yourself to be clean, because it's just gonna end up looking unnatural and be a very unpleasant process for you. You don't need to be clean to be good. Embrace the messiness and make it intentional, and it's gonna look great. Is this enough for a manga? I'm 16 right now and I look forward to starting a manga in the near future. Do you guys think I can do it? I mean, I would say this is too much for a manga. That's a very detailed style, which I think would be problematic to keep up consistently and be efficient with. Technically, manga can be anything you want it to be, but it does.
I don't see any like character work here, like character interactions, expressions, people like saying shit. That's the type of stuff that you need in order to create a good manga or comic strip, because so much of it is based on dialogue.
Does require this very specific skill of drawing fast and simplifying your subject, and you need a lot of composition knowledge and storytelling and dynamic poses and facial expressions, and I don't really see any of that being practiced in these drawings. Well, usually manga panels are not fully rendered drawings. You need to be able to draw quickly and efficiently, as well as know perspective and rendering to draw any kind of comic. Right now you have a lot of finished studies, but it shows nothing about your ability to draw comics. Try drawing some short comics to get the feel of it before diving into a huge project. I mean,
yeah, also as a mangaka, you need to be a halfway decent writer. And this person provided no samples of their writing naturally, because you can't really do that type of thing on Reddit.
A manga doesn't have to be a huge project. It can be a little short story.
Yeah, it could be Fort Coma, for example. Fort Coma is a 4-panel manga.
Hope that they're not planning on making a full-on book right off the bat. That would be a crazy commitment that would probably lead to severe burnout pretty fast because they've never done that before. Manga is usually created with pen and ink or digitally, not with graphite pencil drawings. I think you should practice drawing actual manga panels inked with backgrounds and character actions and things because it's a lot different than the types of artwork you have here. Yeah, every type of art is so different.
Yeah, this person's art is pretty good, but it's definitely not manga. Is Azumanga Daioh for Akoma? I haven't read it, but I would believe it. Because it's so, like, classic.
Manga is so different from concept art, and concept art is so different from animation art or illustration art or splash art.
All I know about Azumanga Daioh is the "Hello everyone, how are you? Thank you." Oh my god. Yeah, that one. And then when the guy goes, "My waifu," and then everybody started saying waifu because of Azumanga Daioh. And the guy that said "my waifu" is like the creepy pedophile. So they had the like the girls from the class are like, "What? You have a wife? Even though you're such a weird, creepy dude?" And when he says "my waifu," it's in like a wholesome, lovey-dovey way. That's difficult to translate to English. Yeah, but now that I know that context, it makes me want to call my partner my waifu, but I can't do that because in English, waifu means that you're a degenerate loser gooner with anime figurines on his shelf. And that's not me. I'm just somebody who has a lot of love for his partner. And I want to convey that in a way that's more affectionate than wife, which feels too legal, too formal. It reminds me of my uncle, who is now dead, who called my Aunt Natasha Natalia by her like full government name. Instead of, like, I don't know. Like, this is the person that you sleep with in the same bed and you're gonna call her by her government name? Why?
And even if you get really good at one type of art, you can still be a total noob and have zero skill in another type of art. And
this is true. Whenever I try to do panels for comics, I feel like a total noob. In my starting soon screen, you can kind of see that. Let me find the last comic that I drew. It's pretty recent. I've been experimenting with these, like, frameless, panels. So you can see that I did a frameless panel here and a frameless panel over here as well, with a bit of overlay. But the way that I spaced everything out, I might as well have used a panel there and just had a normal, like, 6-panel manga. I feel like there's been better layouts that I did in this sketchbook. Let me see. Yeah, this one's pretty fun. So they're kissing and then, this one would have been okay, I think, if I had something to fill up this white space over here. But yeah, it's a little better. And then this one's good. Except I didn't draw the final panel, but it's supposed to be, like, in impact frame of them fighting. It works out because these two are kind of the same. Like, you see the tension in between the characters, and then it continues here. I probably should have drawn more of a parallel in between the panels here, so I could have drawn like a diagonal going this way, maybe. And then this one's pretty normal. It's just 3 this way, and it's fine. It's pretty basic. This one's also pretty basic, but it works out. And then I had this one, which was pretty fun, also unfinished, unfortunately. Wait. Yeah, also unfinished, unfortunately. So the idea is that I had these big square panels on the side and on this side, and then I had like the triplets here and here, which are like the character that is with Finn's eyes, then Finn's eyes on these like middle panels, and then the hand holding. And then here would be the big panel would be the interaction. And it was gonna parallel like, yeah. This isn't quite a manga panel, but it's something similar. This is like a single panel, I guess, and then this is also a single panel. They're like unrelated to each other. But it says, I think it says, and then I knew I was looking at them with like italics on them, because this character is doing like an investigation and figuring out who is behind a crime that she was investigating earlier in the books, and she figures out that it's this character who she's been around but hasn't suspected for a while. I don't think I have any more comics here. But anyways, my point is that even though I'm pretty comfortable with drawing characters, I have a lot to learn in terms of composing different panel setups for comics. You can definitely be a pro at one type of art and a noob at another.
And you have to learn basically from scratch. So yeah, I think they should definitely start with smaller steps. Redoing a drawing I did in 2025 now, I feel like I improved, but there is still something in the first one that I haven't captured since.
I really like both of these drawings, I think. But the first one has that strong posing and like that really expressive lighting. Like this is pure white, and this shadow under of the bandana onto the eyes is pure black. That looks really good, and that's not being captured here, even though the details look so good. Like this harness over here looks so nice. And the rendering is quite good. And the detail on the hair is nice. Yeah, like there's definitely an improvement, but I feel like if they added more contrast to the piece, it would be good. Are these comics different stories or just one? A lot of them are the same story. They're from my book, but the first one that I showed you was actually an attack on Artfight, meaning that I drew somebody else's character. I read that the character liked cats, but had like a resting bitch face type of demeanor. Like she looks scary, but she's actually sweet inside. So the idea was to draw her like looking a little scary, but then she sees a cat and she just completely melts and goes into her sweet endearing mode. So that was what I drew.
Wow, yeah, I mean, at first glance, the one that caught my eye was definitely the first one. If I was scrolling, this one, I would stop and look. And this one, I would probably just scroll past. Even though, yes,
Yeah.
if I zoom in, there's clearly a lot more skill in terms of details and anatomy and textures, but all these skillful details just get lost in the sauce because the pose and lighting just don't work the same way they worked in the first drawing. Here we have this very dramatic, bold lighting that really defines the shape of the character, and the face is lit up and clearly visible, which makes it a focus point, while in this one, there is no focus point, really. Everything is just dark. Nothing grabs my attention. The stylization in the first one is much more interesting in my opinion. Same, the second one is more advanced anatomically, but the first one is more interesting stylistically. First one has more personality and looks original. Line work looks messy, but it fits the character extremely well, gives them a rough look that suits the design. I like the blotchy colors. Second one is better in terms of quality and rendering, but it looks like another fantasy character whose breasts are more important than anything. Our community hating on boobs again. Oh no. The hair is an absolute downgrade. Well, I don't think it's a
I can see it though. Like they're a lot more prominent in the newer drawing, which I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, technically they're covered up.
downgrade. I think the silhouette of the hair in this one is just very uninteresting and doesn't add anything to the pose, while in this first one it very much does. They should have posed the hair better. The pouty look also looks meh compared to the earlier frown. You improved extremely, but your redesign of this character is just meh. I don't like that. I don't know why, but I find the word meh to be extremely disrespectful and I don't like it. But I think when you achieve this more detailed, advanced style, it's very easy to lose that readability that more simple art styles have. And you have to really bend your brain to figure out how to take the
I want to check this out. Maybe there are some panels here. Because there are a lot of the covers, but I really like the details on the fabric and everything. Yeah, this is really cool. That's amazing. This is all hand drawn. Everything. Like getting this perspective down is crazy. And all of the details in the rocks here and in the stars. That's amazing. Oh yeah, and the way that this this strap right here like melts into shadow. There's one panel you hope I find. Yeah. There's a bajillion of this panel for some reason. The main character's laying on his back. I'm not really seeing it, no. It's a lot of the same couple of panels. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Now this is a really cool, yeah, I guess this is this is a collage, not a manga thing, never mind. Yeah, but it looks like this mangaka's paneling is pretty basic. Makes me think that I'm doing a little too much. But at the same time, I've never even worked with like this type of composition, and it's quite strong. Even though it looks like you can tell that it's limited. But it's limited in like the perfect way. Like, because you can imagine the composition of the characters quite easily, like over here. These two characters standing next to each other. You can say, oh yeah, I'll just have like a thin, narrow like panel that's vertically aligned like this. But then you have to account for the text bubbles as well. But where you place the text bubbles will depend on where there's the most space, but you don't know where there's going to be space until you draw out the thing with the panels. Yeah. It's a challenge. Anyway.
The best from both worlds, and it's
Yes,
not
are we
easy.
done?
And I myself really want to practice more of this because I'm
Yeah, I think we're done. Okay. The next video is an hour long, so I don't think we're gonna get to it because I have to go to sleep. Also, we've been going for 3 hours, so that's about the length that I want to go to. I want to stream more regularly in the future. We'll do more video reacts, more art. I didn't get to show you guys my drawing most recently. Maybe I'll show you guys real quick if you're interested. But yeah. Otherwise, I'm basically done. Yeah, I'll show you guys real quick. Thank you guys for sticking around. Draw and stream. Yeah, there we go. There we go. That should be good enough, I think. Okay. Yeah. I found a pretty cool reference on Pinterest, so I was literally referencing a photo here, but you can still see a bit of my art style. Anyway, yeah. Thank you everyone for sticking around, for commenting and stuff, for telling me when I was muted. I will see you guys around. Yeah, thank you again.